Are there any announcements? I do not see any public to welcome today. Is there any public comments at this time?
What's up? Yeah.
Winter's here, Jack's got his hat
I
on.
know, Jack, where are you? It's cold. Well,
You're muted.
Hi. Okay, before I completely lose control of this meeting, I'm going to minutes from the last meeting. I hope everyone had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections or comments about last month's minutes? And thanks to Pamela for doing a great job of making a very involved meeting seem almost coherent. So thank you. Hearing no comments, could I have a motion to accept the minutes? Margaret? Is there a second? Christine? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. We do not have name tags out, which is
We don't have
very,
the folders either.
which is very difficult for me because I know all of you by name and I know who you are, but I will look at you and not be able to find you. So I apologize in advance if I do that. Okay,
Here come the name tags.
I like name tags too.
We, you wanna be, we can be neat.
Why not? As long as I don't say anything about money.
That's a Halloween meeting, so we should all put on other masks and the other thing.
Yeah, that'll help. Yeah.
Okay, Bob, when you are ready, but
Okay.
don't let me rush you. Let's go on to the
Okay,
treasurer's
treasurer's
report.
report. We started off the month of September with $2,765,000. And we had this ordinary income with the exception of the miscellaneous income with Meta. That's the influencer, fee that we get, based upon Erica's
Unhinged,
whatever it is.
unhinged sharing.
So we had income of $47,595 and we spent $300,000, so we ended up the month with $2,512,000. We have 4 CDs right now, and they're all at 4.6%. I think down half of a percent,
What's the amount on those?
200,000. 2 million, not 200,000, or at 500,000. So we ended up with $2,512,233.02. And the warrants were attached to the, agenda. If anyone has any questions on the warrants or the treasurer's report.
Questions? Any comments?
Or comments or threats.
Okay, I don't think we need to vote on that, so we will accept the treasurer's report and the warrants, and they will be attached to the minutes for the next, or the official minutes. Which leads us to director's report. Sarah?
My first thing is, most important, please make your own sundae. And they have it all. I've gotten no response from, the member library directors regarding the draft 2025 SALS budget. After the board reviews it in September, we're still in October, in September, I sent it out immediately and asked people for their, response, and we haven't received anything. And I told them the meeting was today at 1, so that's good news, I think. I first want to say that for the first time, especially since COVID, we had a staff appreciation day. And everybody was asked to report to SALS for the day. I just want to let you all know that I work with an extraordinary group of people, the JA staff and the SALS staff. Now, they're all considered administratively SALS staff, but there's the joint automation and their, how they're paid is a little different. from how the SALS staff is paid, but they follow our procedures and our, benefits are all SALS. And it's been a challenging year. In fact, it's been a challenging year and a half. And I just wanted to be able to appreciate the staff for all of the fabulous work that they do. And Pamela at SALS did an extraordinary job arranging the day. This was her brainchild, and it was really a lot of fun. And we did some learning as well. So thank you, Pamela, for being organized and willing to take it on. And as I said, this is the first time we really had something since before COVID. We had our required fire drill. We're supposed to do a fire drill, and we got out of, how quickly did we get out of the building? A minute and something. So we're supposed to record that, and we did that, yay us. And we also had CPR training. And as a result of the CPR training, we are going ahead and we're gonna purchase that AED. And thanks to your grandson for saying it's the Rolls Royce of defibrillators. And we're going to do that and receive the necessary training. And it's gonna be volunteer. Everyone in SAL and staff don't have to take it, but based on the response of the people who did the hands-on CPR in this, there was enough interest to go ahead and do that. And the cabinet and the equipment, it will be just below $2,000, and we have the money in our budget. We also have the money in our budget for the training, and that this is just an FYI, we're gonna go ahead and do that. But I'm really, really happy to tell you the first annual Staff Appreciation Day, Jill Ryder and David McFarland are officially the SALS Cornhole Champs. I also want to let you know the team that scored maybe 1 point or 3 points, whatever it is, and then the other team threw it and we lost. Our only score was Michelle Largetoe and me. I'm glad we need to keep our day jobs. There's no date yet for the parking lot, but I believe, Pamela, it's a 48-hour notice of when that'll happen, and we'll let you know. And maybe it'll be the November board meeting, but we're running out of time, and it's going to be done before the asphalt plants close down. Out of curiosity, I asked the Capital District Library Council how many links requests there have been. And they said they were really surprised. The number of forms have not increased. In fact, all of the numbers have decreased. So that's not how Schenectady County Public Library is requesting materials, not because of the reciprocal holds being put on hold. So I thought you might be interested in that. But the real excitement of my report is Erica's going to talk about Path to Belonging, because it was smattered throughout my report, references to it, and I thought it'd be great if you heard exactly what it is. But before we do that, are there any questions from my monthly report? Okay, Erica, take it away.
Okay. Let me see, so. That's what he's doing. Minimize you, there we go, okay. So let me move you. You're in the corner there, Pamela, we still see you. Okay, so Path to Belonging is a project that started, let's say, a couple of years ago. It was kind of grew out of a grant that we had gotten from the ALA Public Programs Office in the spring of 2020. No, 2021, I'm sorry. The spring of 2021, we got a grant from ALA to put on, a series of workshops about how to have inclusive conversations in our libraries, because at the time there was a lot of, well, still is, a lot of, conflicting opinions, and we've kind of seen a disintegration of some social norms and how people treat each other. So we're like, well, how do we have hard conversations in a civil way? And so we brought in Maria Estrella to work with us, and we did that. And at the end of it, we were talking about it, and we had shared some tools that ALA had developed specifically for looking at both facilitation, but also around a lot of equity, diversity, inclusion, and social justice stuff. They had checklists and everything. And when the feedback that we got from member libraries when we were sharing that with them was that this really wasn't at all focused or scaled for small rural libraries. It was really designed for large urban and suburban libraries. So we saw that there was this gap in the knowledge and what was available, not only in our system, but nationwide for small and rural libraries. So thus the path to belonging was, let me see. Glasses, I can do this. Is that it? Oh, so this is a question that we've been asking ourselves and other people. So we did a workshop, we did a presentation at the Public Library Association this spring, and we just did a workshop at the Association for Rural and Small Libraries in September. And this is what we always start with. We ask people to participate by, letting us know what it is. They usually fill it out on sticky pads and put it up on the wall, so there's no pressure to speak in front of people. But part of what we're looking at is Stephen Cole, who's a doctor at UCLA, has talked about this. I don't have my notes now. The word has abandoned me. But that people are feeling social isolation is becoming a larger and larger issue, and that this kind of feeling of estrangement that people have can be just as damaging as physical impacts, the emotional impact. So part of this work is also recognizing that we're kind of facing this crisis of belonging in this country and thinking about how to bring people together. So this project would obviously be way too big for me to do on my own. So for this, we pulled together 8 systems, and I think we have another 9 coming on board that have been working on this together. So this is representing libraries from across the state. We have us, and kind of go straight up through Clinton, Essex, and North Country, and then we go out to the west. Furthest west, of course, is Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, but also Finger Lake, Southern Tier. So we have a really nice spread, and then below is Mid Hudson and Upper Hudson. So we've got most of the state covered. And so I always like to start with a story from one of our libraries. So at the Caldwell Lake George Library, and it was not this most recent summer, but the summer before that, as you know, Caldwell, like Lake George, gets tons and tons of visitors every summer. And this summer, a family went to the library and, was looking around and used the bathroom and left. And the next day they came back and they asked to talk to the director, who is the fabulous Laura Burrows. Don't know her, she's amazing. And they said, we've been thinking about this all night and we talked about it over dinner. We wanted to come back and talk to you. We have to tell you how much we appreciate the book display you had up yesterday, because it had this book in it, The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan, because they have a child who is non-binary, and they really appreciated that their child felt seen when they walked into the library. And so they wanted to make a donation to the library. So here was this kind of very beautiful story for people outside of our community who came into it and who felt welcome because of what they saw. So we want to show that the idea of belonging and creating a space that is welcoming to everybody and kind of embraces people and let them be their whole selves is possible at any scale. It doesn't necessarily take a big initiative or something. It just be something as easy as your book display. So when we talk about what belonging looks like in small and rural communities, these are some of the things that we're thinking about. So it really is, we're painting with a very broad brush. We're looking at accessibility, class, age, all of this stuff, including food access. And then we get into why this matters, and I touched on this a little bit. So there's the social well-being and for a lot of our communities, social isolation, particularly for seniors, is a big issue, which is one of the reasons I think why we love the OATS program so much, because that really helps. But so we're looking at this, and what we found in talking to people and in doing a lot of research is that people feel like they belong when they can participate and they feel that they're valued and have something to contribute. And so that's what we're thinking about. It's like, how do we create our libraries that are spaces that do all these things? We also were thinking about the different challenges that we face in rural communities and the specific challenges that we face in rural libraries. A lot of it is based around, well, it's pretty much all based around being under-resourced, which means that we have very small staff. A lot of time, you know, even our directors are part-time and they might have like one other part-time person or not. So this is the framework we came up with, and we see this as a kind of a compass to help orient ourselves to the world. And so what we're looking at is providing 4 paths for people to explore. So there's the personal. Oh, and let me back up for a second. So the idea is that up here in the personal and professional, we're building some foundational knowledge that you need to do this work. Then as we move into organizational, that's when we're catalyzing change by making changes in our policies, procedures, all of that kind of stuff. And then when we get to community, this is where we're really going to make a big impact, because this is where we're collaborating and partnering with our community, with stakeholders and members and all of that. So we kind of see this as this compass that with these 4 different paths to navigate. So it was really interesting. So I had always seen this as like you would start at personal and work your way around the wheel. But as we were, so from time to time, we have shared this with member libraries in all of our different systems to get feedback. And one of the things we heard is that people thought like that was too prescriptive in a way. And what they wanted to do is like, they said, you know, sometimes I just need to know how to change this policy to make it better. Like I want to be able to wander, just to get in and to get what I need and get out. So he said, okay, well, you can totally like, you can use this however you like, you know. So now it's, we able to say, you know, choose your path, work your way through it, or find what makes sense to you to use it. And so to get started, so all of this is being based on a website that was being created by Jack. Thank you, Jack Scott. And so we start with an assessment so that people can figure out if they don't want to just do the go around the circle, where they might want to start, what would make sense for them. And then we also have each of the paths is laid out in the same way, just to make it easy to understand and to navigate. So each one has an overview about what the path is, why it matters to us and to our work. We have a tracking progress tool. We have an Excel spreadsheet where people can track what they've done, which paths they've explored, some foundational knowledge about each path, then some ideas about how to take action. And that includes some tools that we've developed or tools that already exist that we're sharing with people. In the personal, that might be like some free writing prompts. In professional, there's some exercises to use with their coworkers about like building a shared culture, all sorts of different things. Then the in-practice session is where we share things like the Caldwell Lake George story. That's where we show this is what it looks like at other small and rural libraries. And so right now we're trying to collect more stories. We have one for each of the paths, but I'd like to have more because that's what really brings it to play for people. Then we have resources to support the work that we've done. And then we have like ideas about how to continue the journey, which could either be going deeper into what you're doing or your next step. And so we tell everybody, you know, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it alone if you want, but if you want to do it together, you could do it with another library that's close by. You could do it with a colleague, a staff member, a friend, whatever. Just do it, but do it how you like it. It's flexible. So this is this gives you an idea of what our, once you get into the website and you're looking at a web page, so for the organizational, this is what it would look like, kind of give your overview, why it matters. some foundational stuff, and then these are all, Dropbox categories to explore. And so this is the kind of thing that we're exploring in each one. So foundation might talk a little bit about EDISJ 101 stuff, look at the difference between self-awareness and self-knowledge. In taking action, we're looking at developing skills like cultural humility, the growth mindset, understanding that this is a living practice that's constantly iterative. So we're looking at how we do that and how we hold space for others so that they can feel like they belong. And then impact, I'm not gonna read you the slide because that's. And so we've done that for each one. So each one we have like some specific things, and different approaches to how we're doing. So like the personal is self-directed learning. The professional path is looking more at, either webinars or some sort of professional development or continuing education. The organizational is when we are actually looking at evaluating our collections, and, reassessing and making changes to how we do things or how we're categorizing things. And then finally, community is working towards those collaborative relationships that are going to lead to larger collective impact for our communities and help them move in the direction they want to go. So our next steps, we're constantly in the process of gathering feedback from libraries that might use it. It was super helpful at ARSL to get feedback. As we get feedback, this model is, like I said, it's still in development, so we will tweak it and adjust it as we get feedback about what works and what doesn't. We're continuing to develop tools and build out each of the pathways. They've all got something, but there's going to be a lot more eventually. What we're excited about is that we're hoping to launch a virtual cohort sometime in early 2025. And this would be for a small group of libraries across New York to start to go through this and to go through the training that we're developing. So once we do that, we'll have a good idea. To offer other professional development activities like webinars and smaller workshops, we want to collect stories and we want to collaborate and partner. And what's really exciting is that we've had a couple of people reach out to us. So we've had the National Network of Libraries of Medicine. I heard about this at PLA, and they were really excited and reached out and said, listen, in the fall, we're releasing, our next series of grants. We think that this would be a great fit. And so they just released the grants. So I'm going to be going, we'll see what happens, fingers crossed. I'm going to put together a proposal for a grant for $20,000, which could help to fund some of the things that we would love to do, but we haven't done yet because the investment has been in our time, and I think I spent $32 on postcards for the year. But so it's been relatively expensive. And then at ARSL, one of the people that was in our workshop was Jennifer Peterson from OCLC, and I meant to look it up. I have no idea what that stands for, but Library Consortium, or no?
Online Library Computer Center.
Well, that does not sound very good.
They have a
Anyway,
lot of catalogs.
yeah, it's mostly but they also have all these spin-offs like Web Junction, which is this kind of learning hub, and where they were really excited about this and said, we would love to partner with you. We would love to promote this. We'd love to have this on Web Junction so that people can learn about it. So there's lots of opportunities coming up, which are pretty exciting. And that's about it. But, please, let your libraries know this is happening, have them share stories with us, because we know everybody's doing really great work. And we want to hear from them and we want to amplify it. But if you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes,
Are you presenting at NILA?
yes, we are doing a continuing a 3-hour continuing ed workshop at NILA. Thank you, I forgot about that.
You're welcome.
I mean, I haven't
I
forgotten.
kind of knew the answer, but,
Yeah.
and is SALS gonna be branded on this?
Yes, so, on right now, the only thing that we have, what we decided to do was, we realized we hadn't trademarked it or anything, so we got a Creative Commons license, and it's through SALS, so that is on the front page of the website that says the Creative Commons licenses through SALS, but yeah. And we're hosting the website and stuff, so yes, I think we can.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, we definitely, so that, thank you for pointing that out, so let me actually make a note to myself to put our logo all over the place. Yeah.
So Erica, is this available now for individual librarians to go on the website and start?
Oh, 100%, yeah. It's up now, and so anybody can go and poke around and see what we have. I'm just with the, caution that we're still in the beginning stages, so that there will be more stuff coming up, but it's enough to get started.
Any other questions for Erica? Thank you very much.
Can I just say goosebumps? Thank you, Erica,
Yeah.
and for having the vision to do this and to see the need.
No, it's really exciting, and it's really fun work, and it's also been really great, because I think this is probably one of the first times that so many library systems are working together on something, so it's really fun to bring people together and to kind of be able to tap into that hive mind and.
And I want to also brag about SALS, because that's what I like to do best, is that this collaborative, SALS has always been a great collaborative partner. The first thing SALS did since I was working here, they did the performer database that became a big thing, and then the state library took it over, because what didn't seem right that the SALS staff was doing it for the entire state. And then the other thing we did was the NYLTO, where we had most of the public library systems participating in that training as well. So yay, SALS, and thank you for keeping it going forward.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you, Erica. Committee reports, audit and finance, Tom.
We have not met since the September meeting, but we are prepared to go into the vote on the budget this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Building, Christine.
Hopefully the parking lot will happen this year.
It will.
We have a prayer circle.
No, they want the money. They're gonna
Positive, it'll come.
they're gonna, but, what is it, the word, pencil us into their schedule. Well, that has to do with what it's doing, if it's raining or not.
It's not supposed to rain at all next week, so that'd be a good time.
Okay, we'll let you know.
Okay. Bylaws committee, Laura.
Only that today we'll be voting on amending
The
the
amendment.
bylaws.
Thank you. Central Library Aid,
No report.
County Aid Coordinators, Christine, Elaine, Laura.
This is the time we keep looking at the draft budgets for each of the counties. Don't bother looking at Washington County. They do not fund like us, but, this is when I start looking at all the draft budgets.
And the word in Washington County is that the budget is going to be ridiculously tight this year, so.
Well, didn't they change how they fund?
Yeah, they don't fund any not-for-profits except for, right, cooperative extension.
Okay, library services, Elaine is not here. Personnel, Linda,
No.
trustee nominating, Janet. Had a quiet month, thank you very much. There is no unfinished business, so we will go right to approving the bylaws, revision. Laura, do you have it with me? Should we read it again?
I have the, well, we all have the link to
The memo, right?
the letter that was sent by the attorney, and it's so straightforward and very simple, and it's all in line with however long, I don't know, how long has it been since
Very long time.
we've been looking in good faith. So, just to, make that clear. She suggests that the, amendment be that the board shall be composed of 12 trustees, all of whom are residents of the area of service. The board shall always have at least one trustee from each county in the area of service. And then, of course, we're going to continue to look for that one other person from the area, so that's included as well.
Okay, are there any questions or concerns about the amendments?
So if somebody is elected from another county, that person will have 7 years, so it will be 7 years before we look again for somebody from that county? 5, I'm
The
sorry,
terms are
I've got
five,
my
right.
trustee numbers mixed up.
Just innocence.
So that person would stay in 5 years, as you said before, we would look again for somebody. Okay.
So that would alleviate the Hamilton County issue, not making us have to have this many.
But we'll always have to have one person at least from Hamilton County or each county.
So this first sentence talks about counties served, and the second one talks about areas of service. And I'm thinking of, some of the towns in Saratoga County that are serviced by libraries but don't pay into the tax base. Is that the differentiation here? So
No.
if someone from Charlton wants to be a member of the town of Charlton, which doesn't pay a library tax,
They live in Saratoga County.
so they would still be eligible to be on this board?
Yeah.
Okay, is that what we intend?
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
and we don't always want just people from a library.
Mhm.
We want a broader view, and it'd be great to have somebody from a unchartered area on the board.
Mhm.
So they have a voice as well in the services.
Sure.
we provide.
But that's why I read it. I just want to make sure it's what we intended before we approved it.
Question. Any other questions? Then I have a motion to approve the amendment. Janet and Linda seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And approve the budget amendments. Bob or Helen?
Yeah, as far as the income side is pretty straightforward. Because we received additional state aid, we're increasing all of the income items by the increased amount. And also we had budgeted $10,000 for interest, and we ended up with, we're going to end up with 39,000. So we needed to increase that. You know, let Colleen talk about the expense side.
The expense side coordinates to the increased income from state aid in those areas. That's just a pass through. So we received more in certain areas of state aid, so therefore we pass through that same amount. Other than that, the first couple lines, books and e-materials, there was just some moving around of funds with only a $50 increase. And it's because the New York State report really wants to see electronic materials reported separately. And we had always just reported them in the books line, but it is cumbersome to go dig that out later on. So, and it doesn't really reflect what we're doing with our electronic. So funds were transferred so that it really shows that our electronic materials budget is $64.50, which is $5,000 for overdrive. And then it's an electronic subscription, which the state wants reported in that area. And you'll see on page 2, it explains all of these things. We have a database that we pay for called Mozilla that now is reflected under electronic materials because that's the way the state wants that stuff. So some of the things we're just moving items around to reflect a better description of account code. Professional fees was increased because we've had legal fees regarding the SCPL withdrawal, and we're also working with an HR consultant through Nikon this year, and we didn't budget those last year, so that's higher. Building maintenance repair is increased by the amount of the parking lot that we're looking to have done. Insurance just was a little higher than estimated, because everything is higher this year, so that's increased to reflect the actuals. We paid all of our insurance for the year, so we're done with that. Mark Records was dropped down to just the amount we paid back in January. We consolidated services that we used with another vendor.
So rather than pay this separate fee, we're doing all of our cataloging through Sky River, which is reflected in the technology grant line. So we were able to allocate that money elsewhere. And the technology grant, the final one, that's that new Zella subscription. So you can see the original budget with the amended budget. We've got the totals there, and on the second page is the description of all the stuff that I just rattled off.
Any questions?
Just an observation, in addition to the income and the expense, the general reserve, I see is noted as being increased, an additional 30 grand again towards the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's worth noting though, just from keeping a finger on the, also the general reserve.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to accept the budget amendments for 2024? Tom moves, second. Margaret? All in favor of the amendments? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And Tom, the proposed budget.
The 2025 budget is, as we discussed in, September meeting, the budget, the audit and finance committee had met to discuss that in August. There have been no comments from the member libraries, so I think it's, the audit and finance committee continues to advocate for us passing it today.
Any questions, any comments?
It's not unusual to not have response from individual libraries. I think anybody. Have we ever had a response? I didn't think.
I've worked at library systems where there's been a lot of response, but, we're pretty transparent each step of the way with the budget.
Okay, hearing no comments, would anyone like to, make a motion to approve the 2025 budget?
I'll happily do that.
Makes the motion, a second. Linda? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, I think we have done our business for the day. Is there a director's council report?
No, but what I can report is that at the directors' meeting earlier today, I expressed the importance of their voice, because I'm sure you all are interested in what the directors have to say, and maybe even summarize what is done in their directors' meeting. So maybe next month we will get something.
Any announcements?
Just one kind of a sad, that is definitely a sad announcement. Those of you that knew Claudia Blackler, she passed away in September. She was the director of the Greenwich Library for forever practically. And I know that Linda would know her and Laura, and I don't know, and Sarah, obviously, and she was light years ahead of a lot of, people in the library world, and just did a wonderful job. And you talk about somebody that was a leader in inclusion. I mean, it was probably 15 years ago that she started during Black History Month, a partnership with the Albany Boys and Girls Clubs to bring kids from the urban setting up to Greenwich basically for a day. And, she was way ahead of her time on that. And she'll be sorely missed in the community. She just was a great asset in the community.
21 years ago,
Was it 21 years ago?
just because it was in process when I got here.
Wonderful woman. Been retired for a while, but she never left the library. She was always very active right up from the week before she passed.
She was a speaker at one of our annual meetings, and you know how some people are just funny? And they can deliver a serious message, but do it with humor, and that was Claudia.
She has a great voice.
Thick Long Island accent.
She would say it was her Brooklyn accent. That was before she moved out to Long Island, but, she, was a great writer. She has 80 journals that her daughter is trying to put together, that she and her husband and a couple went on an RV trip across the country. Fortunately, I was on her emailing list of the daily shenanigans that happen. And it's gonna be wonderful, the 80 journals that she had too.
A bright light went out when I lost Claudia.
And thank you, Bob. Our next meeting is November 19th. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.